Hello and welcome back, Squirrel Nation. If you are new to the channel, please smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our amazing future content. Having said that, let's dive into this build. This is by far my favorite Hone Onna build. I obviously play her in the jungle. I start with Black Lance for attack damage. Some people do start with speed, but I prefer the damage. Boots just for the damage reduction. Here's where the build gets interesting. So I really like this build because you're going Feather Bow for the crit rate, and then you're following up with Otenta for the crit rate. So basically what this means is by the time you've accumulated 5,000, about 500 gold, you're going to have 40% crit. So if you notice, Feather Bow is actually a component of the Omikane's bow, right? So you're actually building a component for the crit, then you're finishing a full item, and then you are upgrading that component into its final thing. And the reason for that, once again, is so that you get to 40% crit when you only have 5,500 gold. Basically, as soon as you finish the Otenta sword in this build, your crit rate's going to be 40. You're going to do additional damage because of the passive on this item every time you crit. And then by the nature of Hone Onna's skills, you are very, very frequently critting, and I'll go over that more in the skill section. But anyways, so after that, we go into the Mikazuki's. That's basically, you need armor pen, right? She's an assassin. We need to get through the armor that people have been building up. And then finally, we are going to finish with Onmyodo's, and that's just for the lifesteal, and it also gives you a snowball effect in that when you get a kill, you get healed off. So obviously, one of the just absolute amazing things and super fun things about playing Hone Onna is that your skills reset when you get kills and assists. But the problem is your life can kind of progressively get slower. So this item's just a really nice final item because not only do your skills reset, but you also get healing, and then obviously it also gives you lifesteal. So that is it for her build. Moving on to the Onmyodo. Onmyodo are what I would consider straightforward for an assassin. We go 6% movement speed, 8% for the, 8.4 armor pen, and then the crit damage we want to increase. The major skills we take are Shatter, right? Because we want to really destroy people who are at low health. That's what assassins do, so that's why Shatter's great. Shadow Hunter, the main thing, just basic damage. Make sure if you use this that you are making best use of the bushes. So make sure that you're positioning yourself in the bushes so that you are using that. Before you go for ganks in lane, make sure you're running through a bush so that you do have that effect and you do get that extra damage on the enemy. And then finally, Sorcerer's Star. This is just really good because Onioma, or sorry, she is a very attack speed. She attacks very frequently because of the nature of her skills. So this is also a great ability where you're always going to almost have that max stack. So anyways, that is it for the build in Onmyodo, and we will be now moving on to the skills. Okay, for this section, we are going to go through each skill, and I'm going to try to point out things that I think are important. And then finally, we will end by going over the skill leveling order. So basically, the main thing here for her trait is that she has kind of an execution type effect where she does extra damage to players based on their max HP if they are under 50%. This is just a great trait for an assassin to have. Her passive, and this is the very, very, very important thing. Okay, so what happens here is whenever you use an ability, then it will trigger this passive. And what this passive does is it inflicts 3 lots of physical damage to the enemies within range, okay? And each of those 3 can trigger attack effects. So that is the big thing that you're listening to here. Attack effects may be triggered. So the reason that matters is if you remember, we are buying the blue bow. Sorry, it slips my mind right now. But what that does is every time you do a basic attack, it increases your crit chance by 20%. So that means if we're at 45%, the first attack will be 65. Then the next attack would be all the way to 85% chance. And then finally, a third auto attack would mean you have a 100% chance to crit on your next basic attack. The reason that matters is because all three of these lots trigger that. So actually you're getting, just by her passive, so every time you use an ability, you are guaranteed to crit. You're guaranteed to get one basic attack that crits after you use an ability. So that's the reason that stacking that item with Hone Onna and this passive, the way that it works, is so amazing. Okay, anyways, moving on to the Bone Sword. This is just a great thing for any assassin. It slows, it does a good amount of damage, and the cooldown gets lower and lower. And once again, remember, every time you use an ability, you are using the passives. So every time you use an ability, you are going to end up critting once you built that blue bow. Okay, finally, we go on to Glimmer Bone. This is just the basic dash teleport type ability. It's very useful, but you obviously don't need to put a lot of levels into it early. And finally, another thing that's very good about her is her ultimate. So what happens is you can enter this stealth state, which does drop aggro of minions and such, and then it increases your speed and also decreases the amount of damage you take. But the other thing that is very important is, once again, this is a skill, so it triggers your passive. So what you can do is you can turn it on once, auto attack, turn it on again, auto attack, turn it on again, auto attack. And what's going to happen is all three of those are going to crit because of the nature of your passive with the blue bow that we are purchasing in this build order that I've provided you guys with. So in general, real quick, let's just talk about a combo that is nice. Is you will use your, if you're already close, if you're within range of the enemy, you can stealth to get within the auto attack range. Auto attack once to trigger your passive, then use your S1 and then auto attack again to trigger your passive. Something to note is that your passive doesn't stack. So if you use an ability, if you use two abilities in quick succession, so if I use my ultimate and then I use S1 and then I auto attack, my passive will only activate once. So what you have to do is you have to ultimate, auto attack, S1 auto attack, S2 auto attack, and I think you guys got the point. But so that's what makes her ultimate very good, is you get three, essentially you're going to be able to activate your passive 3 times, and then those, like we keep saying, and I want to keep iterating, you're guaranteed to get a crit on your next basic attack. So it's basically going to end up like this. You're either going to stealth in, or you could use your S2 to teleport in. I normally save my S2 to escape if I have to, but you can also use your ult to escape because of the damage reduction. So that kind of comes on situation, and you'll get a good feel for that. But anyways, ult in, auto attack, S1, auto attack, ult, auto attack, ult, auto attack. And then at that point, the enemy is probably already almost dead, especially if they're squishy. And if I need to get away, I have the S2 to get away. And if I want to get the kill, I can S2 auto attack one more time and GG to the enemy. So anyways, that is that section. Let's move on to the skill leveling order. Okay, so the skill leveling order is pretty straightforward. You're going to focus on your S1 first, then your passive. Obviously get your ultimate whenever you can, and then the final thing that you are going to level up is your S2. But so anyways, you're going level 1, you're going to do your S1, level 2, you want to get your passive. The reason you take your passive at level 2 over your S2 is because your passive actually does more damage, because it strikes 3 times. In early game, that tends to be around 40 for each of the 3, so it ends up doing 120 damage. Your S2 does not do that much damage, so that's why you go passive next. And then the reason you get your S2 instead of re-leveling up your S1 is because you want to be able to activate your passive twice. So now you can activate your passive on your S1 and your S2 at level 3. One note I will make on this guide is at level 3 you can do pretty strong ganks, because you can go in, so you can use your S2 in, auto attack, S1, auto attack, and you will have triggered your passive twice, and that's quite a bit of burst damage in early game. Okay, that does it for today's video. I hope everybody enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you did. Also, it really helps me if you will share this video around so that other people can join the Squirrel Nation and just join our great community we have going on. But anyways, as always, I'll see you all tomorrow, and happy ranking.